Hello all my Kenvians, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Today, the episode I'm going to be talking about is Monster Buddies, a actually rather surprising episode. I feel like this one definitely sort of fell into, again, at least what I would consider a filler episode role, but it's probably one of my, I don't know if favorite filler episodes is the right way to put it, but it's definitely up there for reasons that I will explain in just a moment. But yeah, it goes without saying that I really like this episode. But let's get into why, starting with my favorite parts of the episode, which begins with number 1, Steven got bubbled. I tried to write that in a way that sounded funny, but I guess it was more funny in my head. But yeah, I didn't know that it was actually possible for, like, Steven, or, I don't know, maybe even Amethyst, Pearl, maybe even Garnet to be bubbled, except for perhaps in the way that Steven, created his protective bubble around himself and Connie in a previous episode. So yeah, I actually like the fact, and it surprised me a bit that, that was actually able to happen. And obviously Pearl was a bit surprised too, or she was just like, no! But yeah, and then the fact that he got sent to that area where all the bubbled gems are kept. I just found that to be really interesting. And let's moving on to my second favorite part of the episode, which is the name I had for it was Baby Centipede, or maybe more accurately just non-evolved Centipede. I don't know exactly. I did think it was strange that when it first emerged, that it actually did start to take the form, or seemingly started to take the form of its full-grown self, but then it reverted to its little tiny baby form. And other than the constant drooling of acidic slime stuff, I really like the design. To be honest, I did actually find it kind of cute in a way, especially, and I don't know if that was so much influenced by Steven's interactions with it that made it a little bit more cute or what, but I don't know, I really did like the design of the baby Centipede. But moving on from there, my third favorite part of this episode was during the training per se of the after the gems find it, and Steven talks them into letting him try to train it in a way, basically. But when Centipede saves Steven from the mean old seagull, which I guess it kind of did. I mean, that seagull was rather aggressive. But yeah, I just thought that was funny and interesting in a way. It was kind of, and I guess this sort of arches over the rest of the episode, but I did find it admittedly a little bit hard to understand exactly what was going on whenever Centipede would basically start freaking out or start hissing directly at something. Like, at times it did kind of seem like it was going rogue, and maybe it would attack Steven, but amazingly enough it didn't, which I'll get a little bit more into here in just a few. But yeah, when Centipede saved Steven from that mean old seagull was my third favorite part of this episode. Now my fourth favorite part is actually when Steven takes a Centipede up to the house and actually shows how he's trained it to the other crystal gems, and basically he just uses the squawk, or he uses his squawks, and it will spit the acid on command, kind of ruining part of the house, which I can only assume that, they're very handy and able to repair a lot of things in that house, all things considered. It's a cartoon, what do you want? But, yeah, just that entire scene was, to me, honestly hilarious. I absolutely loved it. And then also, brings us to the following scene, where they actually use the mini centipede to get through all the ice, everything that crashed down during the beginning scene of the episode. And I did think that was, one, rather convenient, obviously, but I did like the way they did that. And also how Pearl was obviously a bit flustered at how, her, trying to strategize and figure out what was going on is just so quickly overturned by squawk, and the ice melts away. But, when they finally did find the, I think it's called the shooting star, that actually brings me to my fifth favorite part of the episode, which is very brief and very simple, but the fact that Pearl got the star eyes, or like the starry eyes, in a similar way to what Steven does. And, obviously, I can only assume that's a form of just showing a character is really excited in this show, because I think even Connie had that. But I don't think we've actually seen that with Pearl previously, or really any of the other crystal gems other than Steven. So yeah, I just found that to be a cute little moment and rather interesting. Although Pearl was admittedly just kind of like in awe, and I like that. But okay, the final favorite part of this episode came Okay, the sixth favorite part of the episode is when, there was the conflict between Centipede and the gems, which was sparked by Centipede seeing Garnet's weapons, which were obviously her gauntlets. And I thought, maybe it was something else that was causing it to kind of go crazy, but obviously no, it was the fact that it recognized those weapons, it recognized that they posed a threat to it. And that whole scene, and then Steven, basically saving this creature and by, helping it realize what was going on, and that he actually did care for it because it calmed down, and then saved him from the giant falling stalagmite, or stalagmite? Stalagmite, yeah, that's the ones that point down. But yeah, I really like that. And then, my final favorite part of the episode definitely has to be the fact that it's revealed that Steven can bubble gems, which, in a way, isn't too surprising, because that's basically what he did, again, with him and Connie. He was able to form that bubble, but I thought, it was just a protective bubble that kept him personally and anyone close to him protected. But apparently he does have the ability to bubble gems, just like what Garnet has been doing the whole time. I think some of the other crystal gems, maybe? Or has it just been Garnet? I actually can't remember. I'm sure someone in the comments will remember that, but yeah, I really did like that. So, clearly, as you can tell, I think I kind of almost told a version of the story there. So obviously it's like, this whole episode had elements that I really liked. But I do have some annoyances, and it's all basically at the very beginning. My first annoyance, it came during the very beginning scene where the avalanche or cave-in started occurring, and it focused, very briefly on Amethyst. And she just could start looking up and just whoa, 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 mama! And then just gets piled on. So my first annoyance is that Amethyst just seemed uncharacteristically... I think the right way to put it is low energy almost. Not in what she was saying, but, she sees stuff coming down and then she is just stands there and looks up instead of moving around and dodging, which sort of seems to be her usual MO. That, while she can be lazy, she she's at least somewhat, trying to protect herself and will jump around, move around, trying to avoid the obstacles. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there, but it just seemed strange. But then my second annoyance of the episode also has to do with Amethyst. and it has to do with a couple of times throughout the episode that Garnet sort of shuts down Pearl and what she's saying, and that Pearl wants to just get rid of the little creature, whereas Garnet believes in Steven, and well, not that Pearl doesn't, but whatever. Whereas Garnet wants to give Steven the benefit of the doubt, and Amethyst just keeps going, "Ooh, shut down! Ooh," and I don't know if it's just that first scene that maybe just felt off to me or what, but whereas usually Amethyst's kind of childishness can be funny to me, for some reason in this episode it didn't. She just seemed more annoying than anything else. I mean, even during the battle with the Centipede, when she used her whip, she actually used it to pull the Centipede back into them and knock all of them over, which, I don't know. Again, I know that Amethyst is sort of like the immature one of the crystal gems, of the 3 primary crystal gems. But something just felt off about her in this episode. Again, just in my opinion. But those are all my favorites and annoyances with this episode. Please, as always, do leave your own in the comments down below. I'd really like to hear what you say, and whether or not you agree. Well, if you agree, then that's great. But if you disagree with some of the points I made. So yeah, there we go. Now moving on. As for tracks of the episode, I mean, it's nothing honestly in particular stood out to me, except for maybe the music that was playing while Steven was on the beach with Centipede and sort of doing his training. For some reason that just felt very cute and playful, and it felt just very appropriate overall. Whether or not any of the music from this episode was actually different from any that has come before it, I don't know, and I honestly can't say. But I really did. That's the one that stands out the most to me. So there you go. As for a quote of the episode, I actually have 2. One just because it's really funny, and another because it was a really heartfelt moment, and also it was funny. So the first one, and both of them come from Steven dealing with the Centipede. The first one is, "I don't know how you eat with an eyeball in your mouth, but I like it." And it is admittedly, again, from the design of this thing, as much as I like it, that's such a strange thing, in that it's able to eat food with a mouth that has a giant gem / eyeball in it. It's so strange, but the line itself just really encapsulated sort of my feelings toward the little guy while I was eating these chips. It's just, I don't know how you're eating, but okay. But that does bring me to my final quote of the episode, which is right after the short little battle / miscommunication with the crystal gems and the Centipede, when Steven goes up to it and hugs it and it calms down, and that is, "You have to remember, this all happened today." Well, obviously it's like, the first part of it you have to remember, and it's like with Steven crying, it's such a heartfelt little moment there, and then the addition of "this all happened today" is both truthful and hilarious at the same time. Again, just from my perspective. But overall, I think maybe the only theory I can really get from this episode, because again, I do feel like it was overall a filler episode, although probably my favorite, or if not one of my favorites at least. But the theory I do get from it is, from the fact that we see Steven just very nonchalantly use his powers to bubble the gem after it saved him, but also gemmed the potato chips to send it, symbolically to the gem for whenever it might wake up. I don't know, I think we might be approaching a time when we'll see Steven really start to be able to control his powers more. Like, we've seen little hints of it, but the fact that he was just able to do it just so nonchalantly, so easily, convinces me that that might be a possibility. And I hope so, because I would love to see more of his powers actually portrayed. Of course, I'm sure they'll kind of draw it out a little bit so that we can see more of the progression, more of the growth throughout the rest of the show. But alright, thank you very much everyone for joining me for this episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Please do let me know your thoughts on Monster Buddies in the comments down below, and any other thoughts you might have. And yeah, I will see you all next time for the upcoming episode, An Indirect Kiss. And I would say I wonder who it could be, but I did kind of cheat in that Hulu showed me just a simple image of the next episode, which is Steven and Connie. So I can kind of assume it's probably going to be a cute episode, and who knows, maybe it will result in, you know, some, well, hopefully some more relationship growth between the two of those, but maybe some more growth with Steven, and we might even see some more power portrayal. I don't know, but I really want to see it. But okay, until next time everyone, I am PapaKenn, and I will see you for the next Discovering Universe. Until then, Alonzi.